I've been thinking about art making and sex and how similar they are or can be, and wondering if there's some things that we can learn from one to the other. So, kind of play with this analogy. So they both feel really good, right, when you do it, obviously. They're about going into a place of sensual discovery and exploration, and one, like being in the moment is really important to each of them, like really being present with whatever's happening right now. So there's that. There's the incredible release afterwards, the sense of well-being when you've done it, and the sense of being in love. I don't know if you've noticed this when you make love with someone who's your partner, that it really is making love. You're like creating this loving sense between you that sort of nourishes the relationship. And this is where I was starting with a client of mine, thinking about it. We were laughing. That's really what you're doing when you're doing your own work and being present with it in a similar way that you are with sex. That you're letting yourself fall in love with yourself. That there's compassion and openness and exploration and being present with who you are and what pleases you, what really is compelling for you. That's an incredible gift, and it does bring the same kinds of hormones that make you feel like you're more in love. And it also, when you're making art on a regular basis, it lubricates the rest of your life. Everything else becomes a little bit easier, like making that phone call or writing that bill. It just doesn't feel like it's nagging. It just feels like easier. And part of that is a quality of generosity and openness that can come when you don't feel like you're starving. So I was thinking, took it a little further into like the different kinds of sex and what makes it work and what doesn't, and whether that's a good analogy for the different kinds of art making. So like there's that kind of sex you can have with a partner you've had for a very long time, and you kind of know each other really well. And so it's like you know the language and you go into it and you feel like you can feel safe and comfortable and confident in this routine that you have with each other, knowing that it's pleasurable for both of you. This can be the same with art making. It doesn't always have to be this brand new discovery. It can sometimes be just going into some place that you know pretty well and finding that love and encouragement within that space. But by the same token, when the sex becomes really, dead or bland or stale, maybe is the way to say it, where you've been doing the same thing with the partner over and over again and it just doesn't feel very alive anymore, that's also a really great analogy to some of the things that can happen in the art making process, where you're doing the same thing over and over and it just doesn't feel very vital anymore. It doesn't have the same kind of juice. And so what do you do to invigorate it again? And I think of like getting playful and trying new things and experimenting with fantasies that have always felt kind of far off, and letting yourself explore unknown territory. And it can feel unsafe in both places, both sex and in art making. And there's ways of making it, giving it a sense of safety so that you can explore these things and get the riches out of it. All right, that's my idea about sex and art, and I think I'll probably be working more on this because it feels pretty rich in what it can do. I would love to hear your comments and thoughts about it, and I will talk to you sometime later. Please pass this along if it's useful.